Good morning and welcome to Community Roundtable, a free public service brought to you on AM 1590 KDJS. If you're a member of a nonprofit organization and would like to be featured on the program, call the KDJS Newsline at 320-235-2900. That's 320-235-2900.
It's Community Roundtable here on Gold Country KDJS. We're on AM 1590, FM 105.7. Al Sheldon there, sure glad to be in the month of April. April means many things. Aside from Easter, it's Earth Day on the 22nd, right after Easter. And it's fun at the Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center a little earlier this year. Fun coming up on the Saturday, the 13th. We've got Kory Klebe right here and Ellie Dittes. Dittes? I was close. All right. We're going to chat about Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center, the big day this Saturday, and a number of events, family events, I might add. Kids from 8 to 88 and people my age. I'm allowed to say that, right, Kory?
You are indeed. I'm not, but you are.
Kory Klebe, going to chat for just a little bit here. Kick us off. What happens this Saturday morning? What starts the fun?
Yeah, well, so as you mentioned, the date is Saturday, April 13th, from 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. is when the event happens. And, yeah, usually it's the Saturday before Earth Day, so if you're somebody that goes by dates on the calendar and it's the first day after Memorial Day or Labor Day, so it is actually a week earlier because the normal time slot would have been the Good Friday and Easter Monday. So again, Saturday, April 13th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. And starts off the day, 8 o'clock in the morning, pancake breakfast and some sausages from the Candy Lake County pork producers made by Wix. So that's kind of how we start everything off. Around that time, activities and vendors and exhibitors will start. We also have our recycled outdoor gear sale that happens pretty much that whole time. So lots of things to do.
Kicking it off with a good breakfast, and that'll be served up till around 10 a.m., so you've got a couple hours of window time there to check things out. You know, the gear sale, you guys have been doing this for a long time. Tell me about some of the items you have and hope to have, maybe.
Yep, so the gear sale happens in conjunction with Earth Day, and the idea is that, especially around the spring cleaning time, if you've been in your garage or in the basement and you've looked at some of that stuff that you've moved more than you've used in the last couple years, then we're interested if you could donate it, and all the proceeds go to support programs at Prairie Woods. And yeah, sky's kind of the limit. This year we do have a Lund boat with a 24 or 25 horsepower motor on it.
Wow. That
will be going on bid for that. There's a ripstick, some wetsuits, some kayak paddles. So lots of different items. Usually, I think some of the Minnesota waterfowlers have in the past dropped off a bunch of duck decoys, and we might still have some of those. So yeah, just about anything. We've had kayaks and canoes and paddle boats in the past. I don't think any of those are lurking around Prairie Woods just yet. But
now, are these normally just tag priced? I mean, you mentioned taking bids on the boat. That'd be like a silent auction type thing, or? Yeah,
some of the items that are maybe worth a little bit more, like the boat, we'll put on silent auction and make sure. And part of it is, people are donating the items, and we don't want to just give it away. And the money does go to support programs. So we want to get close to what it's worth. So some of the bigger items would go that way. Most of it is just kind of garage sale. We want to get this gear out of the garage and to somebody else. It just kind of reusing that stuff is better than going and buying new, and kind of that whole consumer waste sort of thing. But
so as we get better weather and guys do what guys do, they get out in the garage and you see something go, I'm not using that anymore. Maybe it's a nice fishing rod, still works, but it's a little older, or a tackle box full of gear, or electric motor for the boat, stuff like that. Anything donated?
Pretty much all those things. Water skis, life jackets, activities for the winter. Cross-country skis is one that people kind of bring out once in a while. But, yeah, any of those. And it's just, we do a garage sale, and a good deal for you and a good deal for us. And, and hopefully everybody walks away happy with it.
You always end up with a lot of stuff then?
We do. Yeah, I think with that snowfall in February, that big one that people are kind of just now getting into, I think the 60 degrees might have helped us think about spring,
Yeah.
but none of that has been on the brain. So not a lot of donations and stuff coming in this spring. But like I said, we have a boat and some other things that came in last fall. So it's usually a pretty good display right out in front of the education building as you walk up. So the Earth Day event is technically a free event, but bring some extra cash to go home with some of those goodies. There's also,
you bet.
I guess speaking of goodies, the 4-H will be there, and they'll be selling sweet treats as a fundraiser.
So that's what starts at 10, right?
That starts at 10. Yep, and
At the after breakfast snacks.
Right. So after you go up and have pancakes and sausage in the Westby building, then you can roll down the hill, go through the exhibits. The main presentation is a live animal program from the Audubon Center of the North Woods. They're going to come down, and that's at 9 and 11. So you can roll down the hill, go watch that, go through the exhibits, and then by 10 o'clock you're ready for Sloppy Joes and hot dogs.
Yeah.
And also Model Citizen, the restaurant in New London, will be serving salads, and those are all for purchase. And alongside of them, the 4-H will be selling treats as a fundraiser too.
What are the Audubon folks bringing?
Well, that's a good question for Ellie. She's been
Ellie
in contact
Dittes
with them.
over here once again. Ellie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So what are we going to look at? What do we get to watch?
All right, so Audubon Center of the Northwoods, really awesome place. They're based out of Sandstone, Minnesota, and they are bringing a salamander, a snake, a porcupine, a red-tailed hawk, and a great horned owl.
Wow.
Yep.
Fun stuff. Not,
Absolutely.
Like the hawk, the owl. Do they do the stuff where the bird will fly and come back, or any with the leather glove on your hand, for a perch?
You know what? I'm assuming the leather glove will definitely be there.
Wow.
But let's see. I'm not sure what they're all going to do or if the hawk will fly around or not, but I know that they've done a lot of these different shows. Not sure if the great horned owl will be a lot. I know she's saying that the great horned owl is pretty new at what she's doing, so I think the red-tailed hawk will be stealing the show, but we'll see. Hopefully it flies around. That would be pretty cool. So
You mentioned snakes.
Yes.
What kind?
You know what? I'm not sure. She didn't tell me which
Big
one
ones?
she's bringing. You know what? I hope not. But if it is, it'll be pretty cool. I think they're all native to Minnesota, so
Can I share a
too
snake
crazy.
story?
Yes, you sure can.
I just saw this in the news. This was would be a little over a week ago. A guy in Michigan was being looked for because he stole a snake from a pet store in Rockwood, Michigan. It happened to be a 4-foot python, and he tried to hide it in his pants and leave the store. A 4-foot python, and they were looking for the guy. That would have been the 28th of March, which was a Thursday morning when this story came out. I'm like, who in their right mind would number one steal a snake, number two do that, a python? I mean,
No thanks.
wow.
Well, and they usually talk about that criminals necessarily aren't the smartest people in the world, but that does seem like a bad choice.
Yeah, a very bad choice, I would say, for sure.
I was going to say, speaking of snakes, in addition to the presentation that's going on, Joe Schaffbauer from Wilmer will also have some snakes there kind of in the general viewing area. And, yeah, he brings a couple different kinds, some corn snakes, some other stuff. And I think Julius Squeezer is still around, which he inherited from Diane Hoffman and Lloyd Bakke, both retired science teachers in New London. So he came out to Prairie Pothole last year at the education tent, and I believe Julius was out there for that. So that's kind of, you talked about how long we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Julius has made several appearances there. But so in addition, in between the Audubon shows, they'll kind of have those animals and be talking about them, but Joe will be there most of the day with just the snakes in general, too.
Somehow I get the feeling the kids will not be as squeamish as the moms and dads.
Well, they usually, Joe usually gets put in the treehouse room, which is kind of at the end of the hallway, and you can walk by and you see a herd of adults in the hallway and a whole bunch of kids in the treehouse room looking at the snakes. So
Wow.
we try to put them, we do think about it and try to put them right in the middle so anybody coming down the hallway can see him and be well aware, because snakes, some people have issues with. They're an important part of the environment and all of that, but some people have issues, so we don't want it to spring it on anybody. Try to keep everybody happy. Nice family-friendly event.
All right. Hey, in case you just tuned in, we're talking about the Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center, an event coming up on Saturday the 13th. The annual thing that happened for so long, gosh, and of course Earth Day, which is a little bit later, and the activities here. Kory Klebe is with us. A little bit about yourself, Kory. How'd you get started doing all this?
Well, I grew up in Minot, North Dakota, and thought I was going to go to school to be a secondary science teacher, and then I was going to go and do my student teaching and all that, and got a job at summer camp out in New Jersey before I was going to go find that teaching job, and they did environmental education. And funny enough, when I got out there, they said, hey, take these kids into the woods and teach them about trees. And I said, I'm from North Dakota. We don't have trees. But
there's a couple trees there. I've seen them.
Just planted ones. So that's kind of where I got started way back in 98 or so, and bopped around a couple other states doing residential stuff, and over to Northern Ireland for a stint.
I was going to ask you about that. My next question, what'd you do there?
In Northern Ireland?
Learned how to speak Irish.
Just a wee little bit. Hung out helped with summer camp and day camp stuff for the summer. And
a little twist on the language for you then?
Just a little bit, but not as bad as some of the Scottish people that I've worked with their brogue. But the Irish I could mostly understand. But it was a good time, and then moved here in 2010 to do the environmental education and shooting sports programs out at Prairie Woods.
So 9 years this year at Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. Explain the grounds a little bit. How big? What's all there?
So Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center, located just west of Spicer by Lake Florida, right around 500 acres, year-round day-use facility. So, coming up in April, that second week of April, we start with school groups. And pretty much any school that's within an hour drive of us sends some grade level out for a day program. And we'll run solid April through May, and then 4-H, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, Green Lake Bible Camp. We do that programming in the summer, and when I look at the schedule, I think we have one Sunday off between April 9th and the end of October. So lots of things that happen at Prairie Woods. We do living history, time travel programs, environmental education stuff with pond study, insects, canoeing, archery. We have the climbing wall, flying squirrel, giant's ladder, so some team building challenge course activities, even rentals. So I think we've got 8 or 9 or 10 rentals out at the new Pavilion this summer for weddings. So lots of those things happening. Business groups will come out and have meetings out there. So just come out and hike the trails. About 7 miles of trails right now. They're a little sloppy. We're in that transition from winter to spring, so a little bit muddy. But in the summer they're hiking trails, and in the winter they're ski trails, and we groom them and then rent skis and snowshoes.
So the Pavilion for weddings, is that new?
It's 2 years old now. So
I would say the last wedding dance I DJ'd there was probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was in the main building. Yep. There's a room toward the back. Yeah.
Yep, and we have lots up there. We're kind of a little more limited for space, so when people start saying 200 people, then we say, well, you have to go to the farm sites. And prior to having the Pavilion, they would rent a tent and have a tent out on the farm site, and that's where they have it. And just kind of progressed. We were doing enough of them that it made sense for us to build that structure. And ultimately, that goes to help support program. And when we designed the Pavilion, we designed it for program, so have another space out there. So if we're out there in the middle of April and it's a nice day, but it happens to start raining, we have an indoor space for people to get to.
Always got to have a plan B. When you're talking outdoors, you might have to have it indoor.
Yes, a little bit, at least for a little bit. Yeah, and it works really well because in addition to everything that we do at Prairie Woods, we have a whole bunch of outreach programs that we do. I think 75 or so offsite programs last year. And one of those, we come to Robbins Island for the Rock and Robin thing. We bring our 26-foot
my grandkids have climbed up to the top there a few times.
Yep, and again, so back to the Pavilion, we built that so that climbing wall can be driven in and raised, and we can climb indoors on that climbing wall. So very functional building for program, and then we also rent it out for weddings.
Well, there's a lot going on. I've been talking here with Kory Klebe. Let's meet Ellie right now. Get up to the microphone. Ellie Dittes, what do you do at Prairie Woods?
Well, actually, at Prairie Woods, I used to work there. I was lucky enough to have my first ever internship right out of college there. And after my internship, I left there, went back to school, and I kind of came back every summer. I was there, Kory, 5 years? Yeah. It was a blast. I love working there. I wish I could still work there, but I currently work at the Soil and Water Conservation District right now.
So you just got your hands in all sorts of things on that.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yep.
And when you are at Prairie Woods, some of the different avenues that you like to do, that you take care of, things you have done and things you're still doing.
Well, things at Prairie Woods. I usually used to do a lot of the challenge course, which was a blast. I did a lot of the education, environmental education courses out there too. Also, I am the secretary for the local Prairie Pothole Chapter in Minnesota Waterfowl Association, and we've had our Habitat Day out there in the past at Prairie Woods. And this year, starting last year, we've decided to come and bring Habitat Day to Earth Day. So our event has now switched to Earth Day, where we build wood duck boxes, or at least help kids or whoever wants to build a wood duck box. We do that out there at Prairie Woods now.
Now, there's going to be some water testing on Saturday, right? If people want to see how good their water is. Yes.
So if you want to see how good your water is, we have a nitrate tester out there. So what you can do is bring a sample of clean or a cup, at least a cup of water in a sterile container, and we can put it through the nitrate machine, and you can figure out what's in your water within at least that day anyways. So keep that in mind if you want to go out there and figure out how clean your water is.
There'll be a lot of informational booths, a lot of things you can learn in addition to the food and some of the entertaining things we've talked about. You can gain a lot of knowledge this coming Saturday, and you can adopt a storm drain, right?
Yes, you sure can.
How's that work?
Well, actually, if you have a certain storm drain you would like to adopt, you can actually go, and I believe Middle Fork is actually going to be the one doing that this year. And I believe you can sign up for it, and that meaning that you'll have a sign by your drain, and you'll be the one taking care of that drain throughout the year.
Kind of like a fire hydrant thing when it snows and it gets buried. It's good to keep them clean, obviously, for reasons that we all know about. So yeah, adopt a storm drain. Good idea.
That goes a lot with like the adopt a highway sort of thing to keep it clean. And you'll notice around New London Spicer, for sure, they have used to have painted on them. I don't know when they redid the road there, but used to have painted on them, drains directly into the lake. So anything that goes down that drain, gas, oil, antifreeze, cigarette butts, whatever else might end up goes right into there. And again, coming up in the spring when people start cutting their lawn, the grass, and that gets the nitrates and phosphorus and fertilizer and stuff into the lakes, which promotes plant growth. Not necessarily a bad thing, but too many plants causes issues. You want some plants, but not too many. There's that nice balance of nature. So.
Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center with a lot of fun going on this coming Saturday with Earth Day. Kory, what about specifically for the kids? Because they're so rambunctious and ready for a good time. What do you have lined up?
Right, for sure. Well, obviously, they can partake in the pancakes and sausage at 8, and then after they run off some energy, the 10 o'clock Sloppy Joes and hot dogs and salads from Model Citizen. But in between then, the 9 and 11 o'clock is the live animal show from the Audubon Center of the North Woods. So there'll be 2 different performances for that. And lots of booths and information stuff. The climbing wall, the indoor climbing wall will be open, and that's always jam-packed the whole time. So they'll be able to go on the climbing wall. The Minnesota DNR will have their laser shot there. So the duck hunter game, we put that in one of the back rooms, and they can do that. Little Crow anglers are coming and doing minnow races and talking about that stuff. There's going to be the early childhood family education out of the Spicer area is going to be making prairie seed bombs, so a little clay, a little dirt, and some of those native prairie plants and pollinators and stuff that if you have a bald spot in your yard or somewhere, you can put that down and help those native prairie plants to grow. So lots of those different things happening on. There's going to be also Roger Strand is always there with a wealth of knowledge about wood ducks. Minnesota Waterfowl Association will be building or helping people build wood duck houses they can take with them for a small fee, and I think Ellie has some more information on that.
Ellie's going to swing the hammer on that topic, right?
Literally.
Yes, yes. So, Prairie Pothole Chapter will be out there making wood duck boxes. So if you're interested in it, you can come out whether you want to order one or take the kit with you or build the kit there. We got drills and guys to help you with that, and it's going to be $20 a box, and that includes the Predator Guard. And we will only be bringing 40 of them, so it's first come, first serve. And last year we got rid of them pretty quickly. So
I bet.
if you would like to get one, be sure you get out there and get your box right away. And actually, too, if you'd have duck boxes out, get clean them out because I saw wood ducks this morning.
You know, with all the activities going on, I'm thinking back to one here, but I'm going to let you comment first, Kory. You got something on the mind, okay?
Oh, I was just going to say there's lots of stuff going on. We talked earlier about Adopt a Drain that Middle Fork Crow will be doing. And also the Crow, which used to be the Crow River Organizations of Water, they're going to be doing Habitat Attitude Surrender event. So all those people that have aquariums and fish or plants or things in them and then don't want them anymore. A lot of times they just end up in the waterways around the county, and that's not a good thing for the waterways, so they will be there collecting those. So if you have fish, or I think it says, let me read what
Turtles?
it says. Fish, crayfish, turtles, snails, plants, etc. You can bring those in, they'll collect them, and then they go to an event later and actually rehouse them and find other people that would like a new pet. So it kind of goes with our recycled outdoor gear sale, right? People that have stuff they don't use anymore can give it a new life with somebody else. Same with your aquarium pets, too. So lots and lots of different things going on. All this done in conjunction with Crow, the Kennewick County Soil Water Conservation, Middle Fork, Minnesota Pollution Control, North Fork of the Crow River, and Prairie Woods. So all getting together to put on this event.
So when you're running a minnow race, I mean, how straight do they really swim? You got the track narrowed down. To me, it'd be like herding cats. You know?
A little bit, and they don't go for the food, and I think you can't tilt them too much, but yeah, it's they get the gutters, the rain gutters, fill them with water and put the minnows in. So there's usually some hooting and hollering going on for that. So a little more exciting than a turtle race, but yeah.
It'd be like a belt sander race at a county fair.
Kind of, yeah, only in Minnesota, right?
Things to do here in the Gopher State. Yes. Now, what I was thinking about here, I know over the winter, you invite people in to do a lot of cross-country skiing, some outdoor activities. What, I don't remember the name of this thing. I would call it like a kick sled or something like it. What are those things?
That's exactly what
it
is.
Did I get it right?
A kick sled, yeah. Sparks is what they call it over in the Scandinavian countries. But yeah, kick sled. So think dog sled, except smaller without the dogs. Snow scooter is kind of how we described it too. And we got a fleet of 22 of those now. Everybody talks about the winter that we've had and the horrible winter. And I'm like, well, it was really just February because we didn't have much before that. A
little bit into January and February, that was
2.5 years, 3 years before that, we didn't have very good cross-country skiing, so we needed something else. So we got these kick sleds. And yeah, they've been a hit kind of in that transition season for sure. So yeah, we had them out at Green Lake for Spicer Fest, and 150 or so people tootled around
Gave
Green
it a
Lake
shot,
on them. So they were a hit for sure.
Ellie, what's your favorite thing? Are you a kick sledder or a cross-country skier?
You know, I actually haven't tried the kick sled, and I feel awful I haven't tried it yet, but I plan to hopefully next winter. But you know what? Cross-country skiing is pretty fun. I haven't got to do too much of it, but I do enjoy it when I can go.
The Soil and Conservation Office keeping you tied up a little bit. Eh?
Yes, they are, and keeping busy.
Sometimes I was thinking with the kick sled thing, okay, if I get on the sled now and I've got a couple of grandkids that want to help pull or something, here, take the rope and pull us around.
Yeah, you for sure could. Then it goes to more of the dog sled thing. But there is, if you're going, there is a seat on it too. So we've got a 4-year-old that sometimes gets the first class seat there and gets pushed around. Although she took one of the littler ones and made it go too. But then there's a bench for you to rest on when you get a little bit tired.
I tell you, I think one of the first times I was ever at Prairie Woods back in the 90s. I moved here in 91. And we had a deal going on with the National Guard right down the frontage road here, and doing some recruitment campaign and advertising. And they took me in a Hummer out to the Environmental Learning Center. We drove around some hills with this Hummer, which was kind of unique. I'm glad they're stable.
Indeed.
Fun time for sure. Tip of the iceberg here as far as raising some money to keep programs going with the events coming up on Saturday during the early Earth Day at Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. How does the center operate year-round? What do you rely on?
So we always talk about kind of being 3 parts to it. To our budget, we are on county property, so that there is some maintenance money that is from the county in our budget. Also, we do charge for programs. We try to keep it at a reasonable rate, but that goes into it. And also with those programs are the rentals. We talked about the pavilion and wedding rentals, and that helps to support programs at Prairie Woods. And then the rest is all gifts and donations that people might give, either in money or gear. I'm talking about the recycled gear sale. That proceeds from that will all go to help keep programs at a reasonable cost. And then in September, there's always Prairie Stars, our fundraising event that we do. And usually there's an ask a need there for something. One year it was the mobile wall, one year it was the pavilion. So so kind of, I guess, a little money for maintenance from the county, programs and rentals and things like that, and then gifts and grants and donations.
All right, very good. Gosh, time has flown by. Half hour is almost gone, so we've got to sign it off here. Ellie, a pleasure to have you come in here, take a little time away from work. They don't miss you all the time, do they?
Sometimes.
Or do they?
I would hope so anyways.
you would want them to miss you, yeah, but we're glad you're here. I mean, and
thank you very much for having me.
And Kory, thank you for coming in and helping explain this coming Saturday, which starts at 8 a.m., goes till 1 p.m. For those of us who live around here, you're pretty easy to find. But for those who are saying, well, I'm driving up from Bird Island and I've never been out there before, what do you do?
So, you want to get on 71. And you take, I guess, from the south, you would take 71 north, and north you take it south. And right there around Tinewell and Ringo Lake, there's a big sign out there that says Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center. You take a left, right, I guess, before or after Ringo Lake
west
on the north side. We're only about a mile off of that on right by Lake Florida. So.
All right, sounds good. Thanks much for coming in. Appreciate it. We look forward to not only doing this with yours truly hosting here annually, but maybe this summer, this fall, things are coming up. Stay in contact, and we'll help spread the word for you. That is Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center Community Roundtable with Kory Klebe and Ellie Dittes. Al Sheldon here. Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to Community Roundtable, a free public service brought to you on AM 1590 KDJS. If you're a member of a nonprofit organization and would like to be featured on the program, call the KDJS Newsline at 320-235-2900. That's 320-235-2900.